Kranthi. I started a company called Dhama Innovations like 10 years ago. So basically my story is I was an engineering student here who loved to do all sort of crazy things. So I was so crazy that my principal thought I would not even pass my engineering. So I was always doing my own thing. So I didn't care about grades. I didn't my engineering percentage was something around 68 or 69. I mean, even if you just barely do it, you get that percentage in JNU. So I didn't do any study. So I was constantly trying to do innovation. So in my engineering, I even wrote papers of how to predict the heart model and all kinds of stuff. And that got me into MIT, from a local engineering college to MIT in Boston. At MIT, I met a lot of people and a lot of ideas. I mean, the amount of intellectual quotient there is very high. There in Boston, I used to live in a dorm, which was hostel, which was like a mile, 1 kilometer away, 1.5 kilometer away from the classes. So every day morning at 8 o'clock, I need to walk to the class. And it's approximately, in winter it gets really cold, like -10, -15. And you have to put all these jackets and then walk. And there used to be a bus at 8 o'clock. And I always used to miss the bus. So which means I had to walk that 1.5 kilometer and carry on. So and once you get to the classroom, they're all heated. So I need to take all these jackets off, carry with me the whole day, I can go back in the evening. So I was fed up with this process and I said why can't there be smart clothes which basically can provide you heating and cooling? I just don't have to, I go out, I cool myself or I heat myself, and that's where the whole concept started developing. And the first thing I did was, I went ahead and searched Google and said can I buy a jacket like this? And I could not find anything at that point of time. I said okay, then there is a product. Like me, there might be hundreds or thousands or millions of people who are facing this problem, and why is there not a solution to this problem? And once that thought came to me, then I started looking at technologies. Whether a technology of this nature is available to satisfy this need. And then I started working on the technology. So it took me, so as a concept, I did my first prototype of a jacket at MIT, which was 5 kilos. So the jacket which I was wearing was 2 kilos, but the jacket I made was 5 kilos. And I used to wear that to the class, so it had wires and it used to cool and heat me. And they thought I would blow up the class, but so they made me sit one corner. Everyone sit far away from me. But what that taught me is my solution is useless because it's much more worse than the current solutions what are available. And based on that, I said I need to invent something which will solve this problem. At that point of time, I got an idea of Peltier effect, which I learned in my 8th class, and I was in a biology lab doing PCR, working with DNA, and DNA uses hydrogen bonds to expand. That whole process gave me an idea to invent a new technology, and that technology today we patented, granted, it's called Conclave. What it does is basically it converts heat to chemical energy in a much more efficient way. For example, using an AC, how it's cooling is, there is a gas which is compressing and expanding, but that takes a lot of space, and to wear an AC on a person is going to be very difficult. Then I wanted to do it at nano level, so I was able to convert that heat into chemical energy at a nano level, on a molecular bond level. So my piece of aluminum was equivalent to almost a big heat sink with a fan, and I was able to do in this strip of aluminum. So that basically created a technology which made it wearable. So then that was the concept. Then how do it took us good 4 years from the concept to a first prototype to basically, and during that process, no one is going to fund you on a concept, right? So I had to raise funds. So we participated in a lot of business plan competitions at MIT and other places. I almost won close to $150,000 in competitions. That was the seed money, because I was a poor Indian student studying at MIT, I had a stipend of $2,000. I didn't have any cash. So we kept on winning these competitions, and we raised $150,000, and that gave me a base to get the basic technology. Then Indian government had called me back to India, and they said that if you come to India, we will provide you with a loan of 60 lakhs a grant of 60 lakhs and a further 2.5 crores. So they had come to MIT when I was there. So there is a program called Technology Entrepreneurship Promotion Program. It was in 2000. They had come to MIT and they met me, and I told them that this is what I will do. They said, "Oh, this is good. Why don't you come back to India and we will offer you an incubation at any of the IITs you want or any other government institutes you want, and we will provide you funds." So like that's a good opportunity. So then I came back to India. They asked me to incubate at IIT Delhi or NIT Ahmedabad. I chose NIT Ahmedabad because I already have engineering background, so I don't need the engineering expertise. So I needed the design expertise. So I incubated at NIT Ahmedabad, where I learned a lot about from technology, my transformation from technology to a product, where we learned about technology is useless as long as it's not a functional product. And how do you transform that into a functional product is critical. And that is something which a lot of people miss, that, oh, I've developed this technology, but is it ergonomical? Is it useful? How do you basically find a solution for it to make it a part of everyone's life? So the ultimate aim is to make this technology part of everyone's life. And that's how I got the funding, initial funding, and then we got seed funding, and we raised like a couple of $1 million, and then we started developing the technology. And once we had the technology, then we had to create markets for it, because this was something which was there conceptually, was people did not know about it. So then what we had to do is we had to take the technology and apply it into products. So now what we have done is we have taken the technology, we applied it to, I'll give a couple of examples where we applied this technology. Do you know how many trucks in India have AC? Trucks like the Ashok Leyland, Eicher trucks. How many trucks in India have AC? So only 1% of trucks in India have AC. Because if you put AC, the mileage goes down by 20%. But the drivers at 40-50 degrees centigrade, they have to drive 300 kilometers per day. And it's so hot, and a lot of accidents happen because of that. So I said, like, I have a technology which doesn't require any power, and why can't I make a seat with it where the driver can sit and get the same benefit as an AC? So we have developed a seat, and the seat is now in production with Eicher, Ashok Leyland, and we are in talks with Tata Motors. So we have done trials worth of 50,000 kilometers. The drivers love it because they have no AC, and this seat provides them an effect like AC. And we found an application as a seat for a technology, and now we are trying to improve that to passenger cars as well. So for example, you are traveling in a car, even though your AC is working, your back gets completely wet, and we can provide that at minimal cost and zero consumption of power. So that is one of the applications that we have done. And another application that we have done is, we know a lot of athletes perform, and one of the key limiting factors for athletes' performance is heat. So whenever you're working out in a hot condition, your basic energy output that you generate is much more lower. And we made a cooling wristband that we got it tested from a lot of labs in the US, India, and elsewhere. And we have shown that we can increase the performance of athlete by 4 to 8%. So what does 4 to 8% mean? In a 10K race, it means the difference between first place and second. So it's a significant improvement for a person. And this wristband is being currently used by US track and field team, US soccer team. It was used in Rio Olympics. It was used by USA soccer team. Indian athletes are using it. Indian badminton team using it. So we have a lot of people that are using this. And then we have, similarly what we have done is we have diversified our technology to multiple applications. Now we are also making jackets, the first idea jackets for construction workers in ONGC, energy companies, because these construction workers work in the sun all the time and they have no cooling. And these jackets currently we sell it to all these people. We have seen an increase in their performance by 4%. So our output of these workers has gone up by 4%. And another thing what we are seeing is these big companies, they do a lot of, in US, they do insurance, and most of the claims are heat related. And if a claim happens, the insurance for everyone goes up. So we have seen a reduction of 2% of claims on heat related issues. So, and we have faced many challenges in this whole process. I mean, this is not an easy journey because what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a complete space which did not exist before. We created a technology, we are trying to, like for example, to convince Aisha to use our technology, the vehicle had to run for 50,000 kilometers to prove that yes, this technology works. And I'll give an example. So we put in one of the driver's seat and the driver said, "ये seat use करने से मुझे typhoid आया." I was like, "What?" So like Aisha people called us. We went running and said, "How can you get typhoid?" And I was like, we sat with them and I said like, "आपको typhoid कैसे आया?" So like, "ये seat use करने से आया." And I said like, "How?" Because typhoid is a bacterial infection. You can't get. So he said, I went to a local doctor and उसने पूछा मुझे, he asked me, what has changed in your life? He said like, I'm trying this seat. Then he said, yes, इससे आ गया. And he decided that he got typhoid from it. And he told everyone. And not only he did tell, there were 5 other drivers trying it. He told all the 5 other drivers. So the 5 other drivers stopped using it. So like, नहीं सर ये use करने से मुझे typhoid आएगा, मैं नहीं use करूँगा. So that is the challenge. Like there were a lot of challenges because then we had to go there, sit with them for 2 days and make them understand the entire how typhoid happens, what are the benefits, and then again they started using this. So to introduce a very new concept, people think it's very simple and easy because they think, "Arey, this is neat." But simple example in Hyderabad, if you take the food industry in Hyderabad, typically if you want to try any food, the first thing that comes to mind is biryani. When biryani has become so anytime you want to eat outside, you say biryani. If you try anything new, that will not be successful. So people think they can change, but it's a very slow and long process. And that is the pattern that we are fighting. And luckily we have been successful in convincing many high-end people and customers that yes, this technology is viable. And now we are at a stage where we are ramping up our operations. We are able to get big numbers and venturing out into different applications and stuff like that. I mean, there are many examples where we did a lot of mistakes. For example, when we first developed the jacket, we said, "Oh, let's take it to the military. Let's go to the Indian military." And we went there. And what we realized was when we took that market, we didn't take into consideration all the stakeholders. The Jawan is sitting in the sun. The decision is made by a colonel or a brigadier sitting in AC room. He has no idea what is happening down there, and there is no budget. He said like, "नहीं सर हमारा जवान को ये नहीं चाहिए because अगर ये comfort दे देंगे तो काम नहीं करेंगे." So that is a typical kind of mindset. And then we had to drop the project because to change that mindset is a drastic task. And then we learned that whenever you approach a market, approach it all around, like take all the stakeholders, like who is the buying, who is the decision maker, is the market viable, is the market ready, is the timing ready. Then we started analyzing like if I taken the seats 5 years ago, it would have not been, or 10 years ago, it would have not been. Today, drivers are becoming a rare commodity. And that is the reason the trucks and all these people are trying to keep the drivers happy because a driver's son doesn't want to be a driver, right? So, which means you don't get new drivers coming in, which means they have to make it comfortable. And that is the reason now my seat is becoming a useful tool without having any impact. So the timing also has to be right. So we have to see all those calculations, all those aspects.